Landmines and jellyfish, welcome back to Knives, I guess, and what it's like to chew the Jackson 5 gum. Ow, Dad, quit hitting me. Can I have some of my money? Boy, there's 2 layers of you gotta be old to get that joke. We're really thinning the soup out here, boys. But we just did a live stream, and we went back in on the Cold Steel 4MAX Scout. Let's take a look at what we got here. First things first, and most importantly, the pocket clip is tip up, which is the Lord's carry. We have got Gryvex scales. We have got the infamous triad lock. We have got thumb studs. Let's flick the stud. And we've got a 3.5-inch blade in AUS 10A steel. So, what happened the first time is we went in on this thing, and I had really high hopes. I really had high hopes for this thing, and it let me down catastrophically. The edge ran for about an hour. All right, it came out the gate swinging. The first handful of cuts were really nice. It was so good. You know, what I expected out of Cold Steel, and then it started crapping out after like an hour. And, we got into it, and after that hour, group conscience decided, you know what, let's stop and sharpen this. And we found out that one edge bevel was around 20-ish degrees or more, and the other side was right at 17. And that was such a nightmare to deal with on the Work Sharp Precision Adjust. It's a very small sharpener. It's a small fixed angle sharpener. For some reason, this wasn't cooperating with it. I don't know if it's just the sheer weight of the thing, but something wasn't cooperating. So it took forever. Like, we were at it for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that. And we finally got a clean edge that cut well. But by the time we hit that point, I was so shot from 4 hours or more of live streaming that we didn't really get to cut with it. So I thought, you know what, I'll fix this up later and we'll go back in. So I get the Work Sharp Precision Adjust back out and everything just went south. So I went out to the garage, I took the 2x72 out and I hogged off all the material I wanted, got the bevel set to what, I went until my ancestors said, child, this feels right. And then I took it over to the Work Sharp Kin Onion belt grinder and used the slack spot between the top 2 wheels to put a convex edge on it and polish the bejesus out of it. So we went back in today and the steel won. All right, the steel won. 4 hours of cutting, and I mean really, I pushed it pretty damn hard. Barely any real significant edge wear. It was still doing clean cuts through copy paper, it was doing everything great. And I kind of figured that was going to be the case. All right, it's AUS 10A, and it's something that I haven't really pushed to the limits before. That first performance was a massive letdown, and we had to go back behind ourselves and fix it with the jacked up factory grind. They must have turned a blind apprentice loose with a dull chisel to set that bevel. I mean, it was bad. So we went through, we had a great time with that. That live stream was a lot of fun. But at the end of it, instead of stropping, I had some new faces in there, and I'm glad you guys showed up. But, I wanted to show the Work Sharp Kin Onion belt grinder as it was, and show some, kind of show off how fast it sharpens stuff up. And it sharpened it up real fast, and I can show you something that comes from using a belt grinder, especially if you don't have a really, really dialed-in touch with it. If you look at the tip right here, let's see if I can get the light on it. You can kind of see where the bevel curves back around, and it's not really a perfect clean bevel all the way to the tip. This side's not as bad, but this side you can tell my hand wasn't as steady with it. It's not the best bevel in the world. It's not super visible on camera, but you can kind of see it. So that's one of the dangers of using a belt grinder on a slack belt, is it can round your tip over, and you can get artifacts like this on there that, once you make the pass that causes that to happen, that's it. Unless you want to regrind the entire blade, you're stuck with it. And, this is a working edge. I've already had to modify it. I've already had the top wheel on the Kin Onion grinder do this to it when I accidentally touched it while I was in the garage. So, the pristine nature of the edge no longer matters. All that matters is it cuts. And, so I went through that. I went through all the stropping, and we got the super, super sharp edge. I'm always happy to see. Let's get some really messed up paper for this. We got the edge on it. And it's always cool to see, something that's this thick and this much of a pocket slab cut that cleanly. We got the cardstock right here. And, it's just blazing through it. And I think I went looking for the last multi-tool I carried, and I was just grabbing stuff and wadding it up to get it out of my way, and then I wound up doing this to stuff that I could have used to cut on camera, and I just did. So, it's one of those things. Just a simple change in edge geometry and putting a good edge on it with, pretty similar bevels, pretty close to the same. Because, I was using the thumb studs as my guide. Like, I was just basically trying to barely miss the thumb studs on the flat platen on the 2x72 and just missed the studs while I was putting the convex on it. And I didn't quite get there. I touched it once on the 2x72 with the 120 grip belt. Because I don't have a lot of practice playing with that. I just knew I needed to hog off material and do it fast, and that was the way to do it. And it worked. I've got an edge I'm happy with, and it's one of those things too where, like, I know with these budget knives and these users and work knives, I've still been a real pansy about keeping them pristine for some reason. It's not like I'm going to sell this. It's not like I'm going to do much with it outside of occasionally carry it and have fun with it. There's no reason for me to keep it pristine, especially not after I've had to do so much work to get the edge back in one piece. So, it was interesting, and I couldn't tell you how long this actually would have gone. At 4 hours with that minimal edge wear, this could have been, it could have beaten the Kaiser Sheepdog XL. That thing took 8 hours. 8 solid hours of cardboard slayer before the edge on that crapped out. This probably would have taken the same amount of time, if not more. Like, when I say there was very minimal edge wear, I am not yanking either of your chains. It really showed very little edge wear. Like, I am still astounded by, I figured it would hold up. It's AUS 10A, which is a better steel than we've been running for the most part. And, it had a good edge on it. It had, like, a good cutting edge. It may not be the edge designed for beating trees to death with and putting it through hard use and the kind of stuff that guys, like, most of the guys that buy this are like me. They're light users and they're just having fun with a big toy, basically. And, something to go, hey, check this out, and getting some shock value out of it. But then there are those of us that are the hard users that are out there working with these things in the woods. They're out there doing landscaping jobs with them, stuff like that. This edge, probably not for those guys. But for what I need it to do, that was a very good edge, and it was like 4 hours, and we didn't really even see the cardboard starting to tear and roll at all. Like, it was still cutting almost as good as new through the cardboard. It was only showing somewhere right about here on the copy paper cut, kind of testing it every hour or so. And then, of course, on the cardstock, you could see where the finest part of the apex was blown out. It shows that with no problems whatsoever. So, I'm very happy with the edge I put on it. I would have loved to have been physically capable of pushing it farther than that, and we may revisit this at some point in the future. We may not. I'm not sure yet. But I can say with some confidence, a good edge on this AUS 10A will get you a long way. Outside of the bad factory bevel grind. Fantastic knife. If you discount the fact that you have to remove this pocket clip and sand a smooth spot under the dingus end right here, or you're going to be tearing the cloth up on whatever you clip it onto. That's the other drawback to this thing, but other than that, it's a cold steel pocket tank. It's the thing I love. This is one of my favorite kinds of knife, just the big overbuilt goofiness that if I needed to, if I needed to really beat on it, I can and be fully confident that nothing will happen. But, the odds of me having to do that are slim to none. So, you guys know I love sharing with you what happened after a cardboard slayer session. Like I said, with an edge on this and with a blade this thick, it was still blazing through it. Like, this is not the thickest blade on the planet, but it's still a pretty thick blade. It's a bit of a tank. And, and you've got the mildest of hollow grinds into a flat, or it's a mild hollow grind into a flat. So it's not the ideal cardboard slayer, but it still blazed through it like it was a laser. So yeah, this thing did fantastic with a good edge on it. It was a lot of fun to play with, and this right here is your warning. If you're using a slack belt on a grinder, you better refine your touch on some knives you don't give a crap about, because you're going to wind up with artifacts like that, which, if you're working with the knife, no big deal. If you're trying to keep it, pristine, or make some kind of presentation about how factory fine your edge is, that's probably not going to do it. You're going to want a fixed angle system or a flat platen. But, that's all I got before I'm holding y'all hostage. So, thanks for looking at my crap. Subscribers, you guys are awesome. More of y'all came in during the live stream. I can't thank you enough. I really appreciate the fact that you spend some time with me. And comments, I love some feedback. Let me know what you think about all this, especially with the edge geometry changing from the last time we did this. And all that being said, y'all have a nice day.